Jaishri, who is a seasoned academician with over 25 years of experience at IIMC, where she taught advertising and public relations. She has mentored several batches of media professionals and led research initiatives on social communication and advocacy. She has also worked as ISID on media policy and development communication and led a UNESCO funded project across 9 South Asian countries. A campaign designer and trainer, she has conducted over 100 specialized training programs for government NGOs and corporate sectors. I welcome Professor Jaishri here and I request her to begin the session.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It was quite a handful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, all of you. Subhash tells me there's a mixed group of delegates, which include academics, professionals, people from journalism, advertising, so on and so forth. I've been asked to tell you about the foundation of corporate communication and also brand management. I recall in 2010, I took a year sabbatical to write the book, my first book on corporate communication, because before that we were teaching public relations at IMC and we just started this course. My own understanding needed a lot of firming up. So I took 1 year to understand, the foundations of corporate communication, how it was different from public relations, and what is that it was doing. So basically, those of you who are in academics, you might have seen the book. The third edition is this one, which has just come from Routledge. It was published by Oxford University Press, then by Sage, now by Routledge. So my understanding of corporate communication is that it is a sum total of communication a corporate does to create a kind of a positioning which has it in spine. Corporate communication has its foundations from public relations, which is supposed to be a planned, a kind of communication with a kind of designed perspective to be seen as you would like to be seen, to be heard as we'd like to be heard. Corporate communication and PR, sometimes people use it interchangeably, are very nuanced professions. They do not work for themselves. They work for others, depending on what the corporate does. When we say corporate communication, obviously, we feel that it is supposed to be for a company which has business in mind, or it is doing business. It could be a product, it could be a service, could be an idea. So every company which has a service or a product would like to sell it. But then selling is one thing. How it is perceived is very important. At the back of everything of communication, it is the reputation management, how I am perceived. I'm sure as human beings, we may not know, but you're constantly under scanner. As a teacher, your students are perceiving you, making opinions about you. As a corporate person, as an MD, as a prime minister, as a minister, we are constantly under perception of the people who are the stakeholders. One thing is that how am I perceived is not in my hands. How people perceive me, because that depends on what are they getting from me. How do they see me as a person or a professional? How do I see myself is quite different. It's only when the way I am, the way I see myself, and the way people see me, in case there's an alignment, good corporate communication happens. So in a nutshell, every company has certain stakeholders, both internal and external. There are people who buy a product or idea. There are people who may be peripheral publics. Currently, I'm working with the government of India in the Ministry of Health, in the immunization department. It is huge department. We, vaccinate 6 crore children and pregnant women every year. So when I joined about 2.5 years ago in December 22, I was asked to lead the communication department, and a lot of things were being done. But it's very important for a person who is heading corporate communication, is to understand where one is working. What is the mission and vision of that company or that department? What is that they're supposed to do? The corporate communication objectives have to be drawn from the vision or the program of that company. So my first job was to understand what was the big picture, what was the vaccination scene all over the world. We are 8 billion people. And imagine there are a couple of billion, about 2 billion people need to be inoculated. Why do we need? Because children, when they are born, they are open to, their immunity system has not yet started. It's growing up. So they need, and there are a lot of bacteria, there are a lot of infections around. In order to safeguard them, you have to give them a lot of vaccine preventable, vaccine against preventable diseases. And that's one thing. Now, this is something which you are giving to a seemingly healthy child. So the other paradigm is that nobody wants to inject a child. No pregnant woman would like to inject herself because injection scares everybody. So in order to understand why do people, there's a vaccine hesitancy, I had to get into the various reasons of that. Then the vaccine hesitant or vaccine, against lobbies which are working, which they think that we change our lifestyle. If there's a hygiene, if there's a cleanliness, if people have good food, the immunity system can work on its own. But then you have to see the entire ecosystem. Then I try to understand, is it possible? Then why are we injecting 12 times or 14 times or 24 times in a year? Now, when you look at the world per se, this is how you have to work on corporate communication. It's not that you're a smart person in talking, you're a smart person writing, corporate communication happens, doesn't happen. Unless you understand the whole ecosystem, you have not even started. So when you look at the world, half the world lives in stark poverty. They don't have 2 square meals to eat. 26% people do not have access to potable water. There's cholera, there's malaria, there are no hygienic toilets. Why do you think the government was trying to talk about having toilets? Why do you think the government talking about having potable water tapped in everybody's home? Because when you're taking water from hand pumps, the bacteria is there. So everything is not is one whole. The whole world, what we see as a globe, it is interconnected. Our health, our diseases, what we have, what we do not have, the rich and the poor, so on and so forth. Let me take you back to COVID-19 when it happened. In the beginning, there was a lot of hesitancy. A vaccine takes not less than 15 to 20 years before it hits the market and it comes to you. Whatever vaccines, whatever injections which you are taking. And this vaccine came in about 6 to 8 months' time. So people had problems about that, the huge vaccine hesitancy. But then the scientists who brought out the vaccines, they depended on many other researches which they had conducted for other diseases. And here it was. And if you recall, most of you must have been vaccinated. It was on the trial basis. They were telling you that this is on trial basis. This is not kind of a vaccine which is robust, which we are very sure about ourselves. But thank God, the way we were dying, the way we were, millions of people died in a matter of few months, and the death stopped. It could have some side effects. There are a lot of, cases, litigations in the Supreme Courts, High Courts all over the world, but we were able to stop the drama of death. So as a communication person, what did you see? In the beginning, you saw the doctors were coming back home. They were not allowed because it was very infectious. It was very contagious. So people were not allowing them to enter their own homes. They were being, beaten up. They were being, misbehaved. The people who were in charge of handling you, they were the ones who were the receiving end. So when the vaccines came, first of all, it was given to them, the frontline workers, the doctors, and then from no relevance, hesitancy, it became an aspirational product. Why? Don't think that you decided all on yourself. A lot of people are working on it. And if you recall, the Prime Minister of India, in one of his program, Man Ki Baat, I recall, I think it was June 2021, when he devoted a complete, program on vaccine. Before that, you saw him being vaccinated at AIMS. Then there's a very interesting program which is audiovisual. He was talking to people. He said, "Look, my mother's 100-year-old. Even she was vaccinated. I'm vaccinated, and you have no choice. If you don't vaccinate yourself, you're going to die. Choice is yours." And after a year or so, I was asked to do empirical research on that. Did it really help? Now, being a researcher, being an academic, you don't take things at face value. I said, give me all the data when the vaccine started until this program and later also. And where I work, we are the control room for the entire immunization in the country. We have all the data of the government. We handle the entire data. So it was not difficult to get. We had the dashboards. I saw the dashboards and I did find that between the time the vaccine started to the time this happened, was a huge, huge hesitancy. People are not taking it. The sudden, surge in vaccination. So why was there a surge? Here was a gentleman who happened to be a prime minister, who was working like a father figure and telling you, I have done it, my mom has done it. Why don't you do? Because you have no choice, you're going to die. Take your chance. And that became aspirational. So much so that in many states, we found that people had a problem. They were getting all the people, pulling strings here and there. Bhai, mujhe tika laga do. Bhai, mujhe nahi mil raha hai. And we were doing it at the government hospitals. We were doing under the trees. We were doing it in the private hospitals. I'm a CGHS card holder, but then I thought, let me just do it from the private so this easier I can. And we launched CoWIN, which was digital platform. So imagine when a communication happens, what are we supposed to communicate? One, vaccine has arrived. One, it is safe. Three, how do you go there? And four, have you done it? You get a certificate. So that is what is called communication. And who are we doing it for? Not for communication, but for a vaccine, but for the country, but for the people. That is how it works. So those of you in active corporate communication, I would suggest that you develop your company, your corporate as a beat, as a journalist develops a beat. A journalist on a health beat supposed to be the best person to know everything about public health. A person who's in automobile industry must not only know about his company or her company where he's or she's working, but the entire ecosystem about the automobile company. That is what is corporate communication. And those of you who teach corporate communication, it's very important for you to not only to just just look at the textbooks, but must read a lot of books. When I was teaching, I was reading a lot of biographies of the people and who had made it. I read IBM, I read GE, I read many other companies which had made from nothing to everything. So if you don't understand how it works, as I said, corporate communication is a very nuanced discipline. You have to understand, your reflexes have to be very sharp, and then the conceptual framework which you have about corporate communication and what is being done, if you can marry these two. And those of you who are from journalism, that's why I asked Subhash before starting the class, कि मेरे target audience कौन है? So corporate communication is a source of news for the journalist. A journalist depends on various sources, and the person who is handling public relations or corporate communication in a corporate, in an NGO, or as an information officer in the government of India at PIB or the State Information Directorate, he understands where he works. He has all the information about how his ministry, how the Prime Minister's Secretariat, or wherever he is posted, is working. And the accredited journalist, worth his salt, we have seen in PIB, he will make a visit to PIB every day, go to the concerned information officer or the DPIO, whether he's there or not, there'll be a press release lying there. He'll pick it up. If he's there, he'll chat with him. And a good journalist will not depend on just one source. He will go to other sources, make his own thing. He might even depend on some sources which are may not have names. It could be unauthorized so that he can make a perspective about the story. And in case a journalist has written something which the corporate thinks is not right, or he has really gone above the, the brief, so the corporate communication person, the corporate communication, as you would know, since you're most of the practitioners, a top management function. So there will be a lot of, discussions, counseling, and they might issue a rejoinder. They might, talk to the editor, talk to the concerned person that why have you done what was not right, and they'll give their perspective. I recall before getting into teaching, I worked in corporate communication for a while, and I found that once Hindustan Times, I recall, had done a story which was very, very damaging to the company where I worked. I worked in National Hydroelectric Power Corporation. I was very young. I just started working, just 5-6 years into job. And we thought that why has it happened? Because, and then, I immediately took, appointment from the person, the chief of the bureau. And I said that this person has not even visited the Salal project, which is much in news these days, on the Chenab River. Why is it written? And how the dynamics work. So as a corporate communication person, you learn a lot from when you are teaching or when you are practicing. So I got to know before the project was supposed to be launched, was supposed to be, formally inaugurated, we had taken a team of journalists from Jammu, Riyasi, and elsewhere, and then they had, had done a story. And this gentleman, I still know the name, but I'll not name him. He was in Delhi, and he was covering the power sector, and NHPC was on his beat. And when that story appeared, which was very positive, and after a week, he does a very damaging story. So I asked the news editor, the chief of bureau, I said, how can it be? Your own person is writing positive, and this gentleman says that this project will not see the light of the day, even in 10 years. So what is all that? And he said, Jaishri ji, I say, why? Because, this guy is covering, and there's a lot of competition between the locals and the mainstream people. It's not my fault. It's not my company's fault. And then he said, okay, give me a week's time. We'll do a positive story. We'll come and interview your CMD, and that will be done. And they did it. After a week, there was again a very, elaborated, expanded story on Salar project. So a person who is working corporate communication, I'm sure some of you are working, you have to understand the media, the sociology of the media, who controls media. Why do you find otherwise? Public sector is always in news, private sector is never in news. Because the entire media, 90.99%, is owned and controlled by big business houses. So this is what the dynamics you have to understand. Now, if you want, we can run the slides because I have to talk on brand management because I can keep on talking. Teachers are compulsory speakers. So, Yashika, can we have the slides now, please?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, sir is making some arrangements to make me the host, and then I'll be sharing it very soon.
All right. So, as I told you, the foundation of corporate communication is from public relations. Basically, it's a two-way communication between a corporate organization and its various stakeholders. But then in between, there are a lot of noises. The people have perceptions about you. You have certain idea about your publics, about your stakeholders. Unless until you meet together, you align yourself, good communication has not happened. Okay. And for that, you have to use a lot of tools proactively. Because, for example, if you are talking to your employees are the most important stakeholders. Because employees are not satisfied, you had it. So you use a lot of tools. You have a class, I understand. I'm just giving you a little input that you can have a house journal, you can have meets, you can have, corner meets, you can have shop floor meets, you can have the digital media, people have newsletters. Your top guy can meet you once in a while, once in 6 months, or occasionally through Zoom or through other platforms. So a continuous dialogue with your employees is very important. How do you make a dialogue? Because we think sometimes I work in Tata, all Tata people think alike. Are you showing it?
Yes,
Okay.
Yashika will play that now.
No issue. So it's very important to understand that what looks a whole from outside is not a whole really. We are divided into groups and subgroups. Officers think differently, the workmen think differently. You find when you're even having your lunch, you have your own groups of lunch, women, men, divided by class, caste, divided by designations, divided by hierarchy. So there are a lot of groups within the corporate, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So a corporate communication person is very important, must understand where he or she works, what it produces, what it services, and what kind of people. It's not difficult. And how do you do that? The corpcom person must be friendly, a professional friendship with the HR person. If you know the HR person have the coordinates of everybody who works there. So it's very important. You must understand what kind of people are working and what are their communication needs. An engineer may like to know what are the innovations in engineering. An HR person must know, or generally everybody would like to know their own progress, how the company is doing it. Is it making profit? What are the problems? And how am I going to progress in my... So the tools which you use, the house journal, other, must reflect all that which people would like to know. And in order to make a kind of a synergy among various stakeholders, it's very important that you must give them a chance to speak, to speak or to write. Everybody wants a byline, but when you find that his or her byline appears, if somebody is a good photographer, the last page of the house journal could be photograph of the month or quarterly, whatever is your periodicity. Imagine the kind of motivation a person, Mr. A got it. So right from B to Z would think, oh, my picture can also appear if I just do it. If you cover the progress of the child of a workman who probably topped in, in a district or maybe in some big examination, and you give a small write-up, everybody in the company will think, yes, his child has appeared tomorrow, mine will also in case. So the whole idea is you have to work in a very, very subtle manner without being loud. It's not that I'm doing it because I'm doing you a favor or because that is how PR is all about. No. You know, when your bluffs are called immediately, if you do it very honestly. I recall once when I was in NHPC, this was the monsoon time, and our biofuel project in Himachal Pradesh was cut off from the mainstream. And there were almost about, if not more than 15,000 families which were living there. And it was all flooding all around. And helicopters were dropping food items to them. And I recall I wrote an editorial on that. And the cover of my, house journal was, it was a caricature of a helicopter dropping food items in a net. So that became, people thought, look, somebody sitting in Delhi thinks about it. And this is what the company has done for us. It goes a long way. What you do, if you do it honestly, if the intent matches your action, I think it's really good. Next slide, Jessica. So as I said, it is a set of concepts backed by activities aiming at managing, orchestrating all internal and external communication with a view to creating a favorable point of view among stakeholders on which the company depends. What is a company? Company is not a brick and mortar. Company is a living organism. It breathes, and it breathes through the people. And you never have people who are all positively inclined towards you. Some people have definite, grudge against you. So what do you do? And a lot of it's just when I say grudges against you, not necessarily because they don't like your face, the company's face. There are a lot of NGOs who work, for example, the company is working in the power sector, in the hydro sector or the thermal sector. And there are a lot of NGOs who are working towards environment, the greenhouse effects, the global warming, the way, you see when NTPC was, it still is, but some of its plants in Delhi have closed down. And I recall they had a very smart public relations team headed by Mr. Nair. And I remember, and we were, in fact, colleagues, parallel colleagues. So Well, there was a lot of criticism in the media about a lot of, smoke around in Delhi. So one is that we can't help it. This is how the thermal project works. But you have to find a solution and tell about it. And they put huge chimneys, which were much, higher than the Qutub Minar in Delhi. And they put precipitators also. And then there was a news that, this is what now the all the smoke which goes, it doesn't percolate down, it goes up. And what else to do? The byproduct of a thermal project, because they work on coal, is ash. And when you just put ash here and there, it flies. So what did they do? They came out with, again, because you have to be very innovative and tell about that. They started making bricks out of that ash. So there was a product, a byproduct of that. They started earning money. I don't know whether they did it or they passed it on to somebody, but they started making money. So these are the things which make news in the in the media. And I recall once I was looking at a matchbox which had a slight, writing at the back, which said that Tata's, you know, um, the matchbox is when the match is made, used to be made of obviously wood and the chemical. So Tata's story was that we have stopped making, pencils made out of wood, but out of some, fiberglass or something, which means, and they gave an example of saying that this is what Tata Group is all about. We use so many pencils in a year, and when we don't, when we don't use pencils made of wood, we have saved so many trees. Okay. So as a corporate communication, you have to go on looking for stories. How do you look for stories? Because the story doesn't come from heaven. It will come from where you're working. So it's only when you sit down with the people with the, people are in the monitoring, people are in the processes, people are at the shop floor, only then you understand. I recall when I was a student of advertising, one of our teachers said, how do you get that big idea? How do you get that, you can say, a trigger for saying? So he used to tell a story that there was a guy, there was a company, a new company, producing beer. So they asked agency, they commissioned an agency to say that we want you to make a nice campaign for us on beer. So the copywriter said, can I go and be at your factory for a few days to see how beer is made? He said, it's very simple, but if you want, you can come and see. That man was there for 2-3 days, gulping beer also and watching around and seeing. And then Eureka, I got the idea. The headline next day when the campaign was launched, the mission statement or the headline was, our bottles are vacuum cleaned. Now, all bottles are vacuum cleaned. But nobody else has said, the beer companies which were there in the market had not said that. They were the first one to say, which means that he gave a little doubt in the minds of the people to say, "Baki shayad wo vacuum clean nahi hoti hongi," because bottles used to be returned. Or if they're not vacuum cleaned, if you remember in the beginning, even Coca-Cola, Pepsi used to come in glass bottles, which you had to return, and then they fill it again. So this particular line, and he got it only while he was there. If he was not there, this idea would not have come to them. So a Copcom person or advertising person has to be very, very creative, and creative not something which comes from heaven. It can be developed. Being at the place where I am now, in the last 2 years, I've already produced 20 films, out of which 9 are animation and 10 are 11 are testimonial films. And people say the WHO and UNICEF tells me that my animation films are on the the mobiles of every single Asha and ANM in a village. So when they go motivating people to vaccinate, they show them those films, wo chalate hain unke liye, because I've used mascots and all. Currently, I'm doing it for the government of India. There's a huge oral dental program being launched because 60% of children have cavities and a problem in their teeth. So we are going to teach them how to brush the teeth. So the name of the program was Anant Muskan. मैंने कहा बड़ा मुश्किल नाम है जी. But then I said, okay, because they said you be our expert. I'm doing it gratis for them, for the ICMR. So I said, can I make Anand the boy and Muskan the girl? They said, okay, what is your idea behind that? So I said, I'll make mascots. So these two, Anand and Muskan, are two brushes. Okay. So, and they are dancing around, then they turn around. On the one side are the bristles of the brush. As they turn around, they become children. It's a girl and a boy. And they are the ones who are telling children how to goal karke, aapko ghumana hai. It has come out so well. So these are just for one film which I've just made for them. Of course, there's a creative agency. The creative concept and ideation was mine. So what I'm trying to say is that if I can do it, you can also do it. And it will happen only if you're very well read. आप बहुत पढ़िए, रोजाना पढ़िए, रोजाना देखिए, बहुत सारा try and watch lot of trash also. If you don't watch trash on the TV, which is full of trash, how would you know? How is the popular culture moving? Okay, so that you can give a better option of that popular culture. I watch TV almost 7 to 8 hours a day. I keep watching whenever I have time. Uh, my TV is always on while I'm working. Everybody knows and nobody disturbs me because you have the earphones. You're watching news, you're watching other things while you're working also. So my suggestion to you would be that it's very important for you to be well read and also watch a lot, see a lot of things, discuss a lot. It's a teamwork. And don't think that somebody will just go ahead of you. It doesn't happen. Knowledge has to be shared to become a knowledge. It's not a knowledge. It's in your hand. Okay. Next, I'm trying to do myself. Yashika, next, please. So when we define management, there are four core areas: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So all these four functions require communication, whether you're planning, organizing, leading, controlling your people. When it comes to brand management, communication framework, strategy, and text take the center stage. So brand management you need all planning, organizing, leading, controlling, but then strategies and tactics are the most important in brand. Brand is not something which we create. Factories produce products. Is the mind space of the people. We turn products into brands. Coke was not a brand when it was launched. It was supposed to be a mild kind of analgesic for the military guys because सर दर्द जिनको होता है थोड़ी सी कोक पियेंगे सर दर्द चला जाएगा. Imagine what a great brand it is. It may not be good for your health. About 20, 30 years ago, they tried to change the formula because you must progress. And there were, dharnas and mass movement that we want our old Coke back, no change. So they brought it back the same. Then they tried other zero and other kind of, sub products, but the original Coke remains because people said, and that was the day Coca-Cola company thought the brand does not belong to us, it belongs to the people. Once it belongs to the people, then nobody can mess up with that brand. Cadbury chocolates 2004, there were worms in the chocolates and they didn't know what to do. And I was in touch with the company, which was the ad agency, which was doing it. They started with Project Vishwas. They tried to say one was that there were worms somewhere in Maharashtra. They said, now we have new machines and we are going to double pack. First, they made a mistake saying it's not possible. Worms cannot get into there. It means those kirana shops, usme se chale gaye, ghun chala gaya, hoga chala gaya. And they put off those lakhs of retailers who were selling their products. You cannot do that. It was a bad public relations, bad CC. Then when they did this print ad, did not help. So what helped? The invincible Amitabh Bachchan. They brought him. And what did he do? First he started, he was playing with this. They showed that he was a grandchild and he said, he was trying to shove in a little bit of chocolate in small. He said, no, mummy ne kaha hai, chocolate nahi khana hai. Bola, nahi, mummy ko hum samjhayenge, chocolate mein koi problem nahi hai. The third ad was, and there were two such ads, that he was shown in the Coca-Cola factory. He was standing near the assembly line where the chocolates were being, covered with the wrapper. He picks up one, eats and says, "Bhai, 50 साल की दोस्ती का सवाल है, 50 साल से चॉकलेट खा रहा हूँ और ये बिल्कुल ही safe है." That is what made a difference. And people also, and there are empirical data which say that within 6 months, the company was able to retain back its share of the market because people thought it was aberration. It was not, something which the company would be doing it. It was an aberration. So they forgave them. So what I'm trying to say is that a brand is not what a company has no business, has no aukat to produce. It is the people like you and me, the people who partake that product, we turn them into brands. And that comes with a long experience of with that product, that the happiness which that product gives. That's why it has to be consistency is the name of the game. You go to your favorite restaurant and every time you go, you find, oh, वही स्वाद है. स्वाद बदल जाएगा, आप जाएंगे ही नहीं, है कि नहीं है? छोले भटूरे खाने तो नथुस जाना है, आप बंगाली में वहां नहीं जाएंगे, नहीं, उनके फर्क है. What do they do? It's very important that consistency in giving you the same joy. You are not partaking a product, you are enjoying what is given to you. I remember having read somewhere, somebody asked somebody, what do you do? He said, I'm in the business of joy. So what do you mean? Are you a joker? Or do you run a circus company? And he said, no, my company makes chocolate, produces chocolates. He says, it's not a chocolate, we produce joy. Have you ever seen a child not smiling when you give him a chocolate? So you turn your product into what it does for you. That is brand management. And that comes only when you're a thinker, you're a thought leader, you talk to the people, you're seen, you understand the ecosystem, and you understand, and you're also trying to look at the problems, the grudges people have, they're satisfied, only then it happens. Because one person who's not satisfied can make your life miserable in the digital age. 2004, again, 2002 or 4, I think United Airlines had to really lick dust literally. The worth of his product, of his shares came down half the way. Why? There was a gentleman who was flying from Canada to Chicago to do a concert in Chicago. And he checked in his guitar at the airport. When he got down, and that guitar was broken. Again, a hazard of traveling. And he said, well, you have broken my guitar, so please pay me $2,000. He says, no. He ran from pillar to post for about a year, and they said, no, we'll not give you because this is just you should have kept it in your hand. Why did you check it? And this gentleman, I'm forgetting his name now, but when you just say United Breaks Guitars on the Google, you can still, see that beautiful song. So he is in my case studies in my book also. So he wrote a song, United Breaks Guitars. Okay. So he made the entire program, the entire song of 5 to 6 minutes, showing animatedly, how he came and how, they threw it in the air, and he showed some, how they were handled, how his, his complaint was handled. And he said that I will never go by United Airlines, because United breaks guitars. So when this song was uploaded by one single person, I think there were millions of views in weeks' time. And immediately, everybody thought that United Nations was not a compassionate organization. And they had literally licked us. They apologized, gave him the money, and then they said, this video we are going to show in an HR to say how important it is to fulfill or to satisfy your stakeholder, even when there's one. You've seen even Boeing's, after this unfortunate Ahmedabad, crash, shares came down by 8% within hours on the same day. And you've seen how many stakeholders are working together. Interestingly, you find, though it was an Air India flight, Boeing, which has given that, and there are, those groups which are into safety, they've all aligned together. And Air India, except saying that Chandrasekhar, who was the head of the Tatas, and the guy who heads Air India, very briefly, they are not speculating, not saying anything. They simply 1 or 2 words. They are saying that this is the compensation, these are the numbers. They are not doing much talking because it's a national kind of a tragedy. Most of the talking is done by the government. So it's very important in corporate communication, in crisis. Somebody is taking the class. I recall after me, a very brilliant person, Mr. Kar, Sithkanshu Kar. So you find that it's very important who will do the talking. It's very important to understand. You just can't be just blubbing or, in case you're not supposed to. So that understanding is very important. Next, please. Yashika, next. Okay, the roadmap for brand management. Since the time is short, I just have 15 minutes. Define your brand. If it were a leader, who would it be and why? If it were an animal, which one it would be and why? क्या वो दोस्ती वाला है तो हाथी सोचिए बहुत वो है ferocious है because somebody who's a leader आप चीता lion की तरह सोच सकते हैं. So when you think about your company, your brand, in terms of human beings, in terms of birds, in terms of flowers, in terms of animals, you have an idea how to position them. Okay, this will give a personality. You've seen thumbs up. When thumbs up came, wo angutha, everybody thought is a failure from day one. Imagine how thumbs up has been able to position itself. Taste the thunder. The kind of the TVs they make, the kind of people they are associated. So I mean that really fulfills the brand promise of what the name is all about. Then the very famous SAIL versus Tata Steel. Tata's was Ispat bhi hum banate hain. There's a little bit of steel in each one of us SAIL. And you're in IBM machines, you're in Apple versus IBM, very differently positioned. So as I said in the beginning, brands are created in the mind space, but a lot of schooling may have gone into that. People will think how you will make them think. And that will come through strategic communication, corporate communication. So when continuously you have a certain narrative, which is positive, which tells the story of the company, which is empathetic, that sets in your mind, and from a product, it turns into a brand. Next, please, Jessica. Interdepartmental alignment, especially for the people who are practitioners among you who are listening to me. With increased struggles for market share amidst fierce competition, companies need to sharpen their message to stand out from the crowd and create a corporate differential. Communication, not just the function of PR or corporate communication, but and departments alone, but various verticals. They need the help of CCPR managers as they specialize in various niche areas, line and staff functions, one of which may be a cause of friction that needs CC intervention. For example, there's a strike or a threat of a strike in your company where you're working. Now, HR people have different style of writing, right? I remember even when somebody was being dismissed as the President of India is very pleased to dismiss you. Government communication is very different. So HR person has a different way of writing. I recall the Hyatt Regency group had once asked me when I was a professor at IMC to do interpersonal communication workshop for them. So they were all vice presidents and I had gone there. I said, first thing I like to see, show me your, communication within your corporation if you want to apply for leave. So can I have a look at some of your applications? So most applications were had, dear sir, I beg to state. I said, why you have to beg to state? You're unwell. Leave is your right. You have so many leaves. Maybe you need a permission because you might be needed. Simply say why you're begging. This is a slave, language which was taught to us by the Britishers, and you are an American company, you're still begging to state. So it's very important that because corporate communication people who are expert in communication, the HR would need their help. And in case they have to go to the media, HR people will be poorly placed to write the press release. It will obviously be written by the corporate communication people. The input would be taken from the HR people so that you're not saying what you're not supposed to say. Similarly, if you're launching a product, so you're the product, narration maker. So as I gave you the example of the bear. So you would see what is the USP, what is that narrative which will do well. And since corporate communication is different from advertising, the same brief must go to them so that you're aligned in your in your communication. You're not saying two different things in PR and different things in advertising. Next, please. It's just a graphic to say need for synergy. So when you're working on first internally, that you have put together the thought process, and when I was working in NHPC, I was very young. I just started, but I had made a committee which had a person nominated by the different verticals. So every time we were doing a campaign or we're doing anything, so that a meeting would be invited, would be organized once in a month or once in 2 months, where we'll be presenting to them, this is what we are doing it. So that we had the input informally from them. So next time when the proposal will go to the top management, I saw there was no rejection at all. So those of you who work in Corpcom, just consider having a formal or informal group within your corporation where you have either the person who's heading the department, somebody nominated by him, chat with them, sit over tea or coffee and see what is happening, what are the new things, what are the innovations. And those become stories for you in your house journal, for your press release, for your digital media, so on and so forth. So synergy is very important. Next, Yashika. So where should you be seen? Be where the audiences are. You should not be where you want to be. Are they in the digital space? Are they watching you on the TV? So various media platforms are required, mass media, social media, grassroots. As for example, as I was telling you about where I work now, there are more than 1.5 lakh Ashas and again a couple of lakhs of ANMs, and the people who are supposed to be about, say, 60% people are in the villages where your target audience are. So a lot of we look for a lot of influencers at the grassroots level, and Ashas also work as influencers when they go from home to home, telling people why inoculation is important. So the message, medium, audience have to be aligned. Only then communication has happened. Next, please. Just 3-4 more minutes. Strategy. Artificial intelligence based chatbots to capture on corporate websites, to capture listen stakeholders, do sentiment analysis. You don't have to do yourself. There are a lot of agencies now which is specialized in that. They don't cost a bomb. They just cost a couple of lakhs or maybe a few thousand in a month, 50, 60,000. They can do it all for you. Start for your top management. Start thought leadership on LinkedIn. Brand your employer's profile. Make your company website as an aspirational media channel, a source for the seekers. Excuse me. A lot of empirical research tells us, I also did when I was at IMC, that in times of crisis, the journalists and the people, first of all, go to the website of the company or the government to see what is the latest. So this make it a media unto itself. For example, if there's an accident, there's a problem, a 30-second, 60-second, a small a clip, just uploaded what your chairman, MD is saying, and what is updated information, their latest, press releases. Just go on uploading. You find if you put a clip on your website, I can assure there are about 400 news channels in this country. I can assure you, if not more, about 100 odd would be using that, that clip to show what your chairman is saying. It's become as simple, and it's not that you really have to go for a very professional kind of a shoot. Now, even a mobile phone with good cameras can do that. Involve young audience, potential employees through college competitions, visiting campuses for lectures, research, internship. This is very important. All the companies, public, private sector, must have a good synergy with the market and with the academia. Ask them to do research. Think about MPhil, PhD, researches, subjects. Think about other continuous research. Align with the academia, and you will find that you can have a lot of interesting input to handle. Next, please. Crisis time, I'll not do much because the next class is that. But I'm simply saying the character of a person is believed to be known in an adversity, so can it be said for an organization. Crises do happen, but how are these managed? Aligning to corporate's intent with public interest. A crisis cannot be reversed. Remember that. It can only be managed. And it can be managed only with empathetic and very honest communication. Your intent and public interest have to be aligned. आप सोच कुछ रहे हैं, public interest कुछ और है, it doesn't happen. And the resilience that is required in the face of adversity is what becomes difference between great brands and no brands. You know, it's very important that you must understand what the public interest is and what your intent is. It has to be aligned. Next, I think is the last slide probably. Next, lijiye Jessica. Yeah. Some do's and don'ts. The value of proactive communication, reaction when required. Silence also sometimes speaks can be strategically used. The only thing that will bridge trust deficit and gain confidence is only when one comes clean. Mistakes happen, but when these are intentionally hidden or camouflaged, they come out with a force. That is what truth is all about. To me, crisis communication is nothing but truth well told. I think I'll stop it here. I've almost taken all the time. So I leave it to the host, Professor Subhash Dhulia, if he wants any interrupt session, or maybe the next person can do that. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative session.
You can take some questions.
Yes.
I want to request to everyone, if you have questions, you may write in the chat box.
I'm not delaying the next speaker.
Ma'am, can you share your contact details, please?
Take it
The
from
email
Subhash.
address.
Just write Jaishri Jethwaney and you'll find it on the Google. Just write the right spelling. It's written rightly there.
Okay.
Dr. Hari Krishna. Anybody?
Ma'am, namaskar, madam.
Namaste.
My
Hari ji.
interest is reading your book.
Reading corporate communication, second edition.
Now the third has come.
I got the PDF.
Yeah.
Got the PDF. Thank you.
Thank you, Hari.
Yes, yes.
PPT, I will share with you PPT.
Please share the PPT, and in any case, you can share my email ID with them. If anyone has any question, because a lot of people are in touch with me, I don't know them even, and I make it a point that I must reply. There are students, PhD scholars, MPhil scholars. There are many questions. I try my best not to, not to disappoint anybody. So that's my promise to you. So I don't pursue corporate communication per se now, but I'm still in very active strategic communication. I'll be very happy to help you. So I take your permission now. Yeah, is a question?
Ma'am, there is a question I want to share.
Boli.
The question: what would have been your course of action if you were the comms head of Air India today?
I think they're doing pretty well. I have nothing against them. Because I said that in crisis, sometimes silence is also very important. You saw that immediately after that, Mr. Chandrasekhar appeared and he said, I cannot everybody else is speculating. Media is doing it. They are not doing it. They're doing just fine. And then the chairman of the Air India also appeared. And whatever they have to say, the compensation, these are all standard, practices. They don't even have to say it. And they are doing the least of speaking, which is very good. I would have done just the same. Thank you, Anand.
Hello.
So I take
Hello,
your
ma'am.
permission. Yeah, yes, somebody there. Okay.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I know you since the days I was doing my PhD in
Okay.
public relations from Bakhalal.
Okay.
I know you, and when I was doing my PhD on corporate communication only.
Wonderful, Raj. Ho gaya? It's all done?
2009 May.
Okay. Oh, when I was writing the book.
So I have had I wrote on a thesis on a corporate communication practices of BSNL and Bharti Televentures.
Okay. Okay.
So I am nowadays because I am teaching right now, assistant professor in Baba Sahib Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad,
Okay.
and I'm reading your book on. See the
Okay.
coincidence.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I need one favor or query from you that
Yeah.
since I've been asked to handle social media as a professor of journalism. So I need to understand, how to project the university, academia in a positive way through media. Here
Yeah.
the governors, the chancellors, media cell comes, they take the coverage and they go away.
Yeah.
So what can I do as a faculty member, or
Yeah.
as a, what would say that if I have been
Are
asked to
you are
write
you
press?
asked to handle PR or corporate communication for the university? If you are not asked, don't do that. Only the
No, I'm
person who's
not asked, but
authorized.
I am asked
Ah,
to write some social media releases.
okay,
Social media
okay. So it
post.
must be the kind of research you are doing, instead of talking about the university, when you are, at IMC constantly, we used to engage the students in certain kind of researches. So the research findings and insights were published in the mainstream media. We would issue the press releases, and that very subtly would say, this is what IMC is doing it continuously. Instead of saying we are the best, let people say you are the best. So it is the kind of work which you are producing. For example, some of the students are doing extremely well. Maybe after you do your, when the people come, what kind of people come, the corporate sector come for employment, all these, things.
Ma'am, it is an open university and it
Okay,
is government funded
it's
institution.
open. Okay. So then
Like IGNO.
how many students, how many, there's a lot, I can't tell you
Because
often.
they are virtual. They are
Rajneesh,
virtual.
I understand, but I can't tell you often unless until you understand what is doable, what is sayable is very important. Why you are better than any other open university, what kind of students, what kind of subjects, what are the new innovations, and that is what makes, the work, the kind of work you do, that is what the social media narrative has to be all about. Okay? Because often, unless I understand the whole ecosystem, I won't be able to give you advice.
I'll
But
come back to
basically,
you.
okay.
I'll come back to you unofficially, not on this
Okay.
platform. I'll
All
message
right.
you or email
All
you.
right. All right. All right.
But it's been
All right.
very nice, ma'am. I have
Thank
met
you,
you now
Rajneesh.
after almost 20 years, 2 decades.
Okay.
But I'm reading your book.
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
I'm reading
Rajneesh.
your book right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam,
Thank
good
you.
evening. Good evening. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes.
Where I will get your books, ma'am? Corporate communication books.
It is
How
at
to?
Amazon, Flipkart, everywhere.
So if I type your name, it will display. No?
Simply write Jaishri Jethwaney, JSHR. Just write Jaishri Jethwaney books. All the books will come.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Nasima.
Ma'am, I had a small question.
Yes.
So basically the book you have written, the new edition is the third edition, right?
Third edition, yes.
So I'm just checking it out on Amazon. It's the second edition still showing. So
No, this is the book which came in 24.
okay.
This is by Routledge now, Routledge. Because
Okay.
Sage closed shop in 23. So
Hmm.
all my 3 books, corporate communication, and 2 more books, social sector communication and beauty paradigm, which is a research, which has become the Sage book of knowledge. Before Sage closed down, they said the book is elevating to Sage book of knowledge, which is how the women are projected. So all these 3 books Routledge has published in 2024.
Hmm. Okay. I'll just check it
Yeah.
from that
Sure.
publication. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Harshal.
Ma'am, not a question, just a basic comment.
Yes.
I'm staying 11,000 miles away from home. I work for Walmart. So I
Oh, you
must
work for
say,
Walmart.
yeah, I work for Walmart. I'm working as their energy manager. So we are basically constructing EVs for Walmart all around
Okay.
US, Canada, and Mexico.
Okay.
Staying here for 11 years, I can see whatever you guys are doing in India. The communication is much better in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And the problem was not communication. I will say, हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि आप जो सो रहे हैं उसको जगाना आसान है, लेकिन जो जानबूझ के
Yes.
सो रहे हैं
Yeah.
उसको आप कैसे
True.
उठा सकते हो.
True.
So the communication in the past several years, it has been very effective, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. So applause to you all, and to the I'll say IB ministry and all the government people, because everything was said before, but it was not relaying all over this part of the country. So this part of the continent, but it's been heard loud and clear now. So thank you for all.
Walmart had its own set of problems, but the way you handle, because I've been studying Walmart also, you know, India,
Ma'am,
they could have done much
just
better.
want to
But
give you a Yeah, I just want to give you a cue. So please do read about their Visio absorption. So they have basically absorbed a company called Visio. So people
Visio,
thought it was basically making their TVs and electronic section, but it is a media house. So how they
Okay.
are basically absorbing and how they're reflecting. So we have our own communication and our own marketing channels.
Where are you
now.
based? Are you based out of Delhi or where?
No, ma'am, I'm based just 5 hours away from Dallas. It's a small town called Bentonville. So Mr.
Okay.
Sam Walton, the founder, was born and raised.
Okay.
Sorry, he founded the company over here. So
Yeah.
we have a pretty good 30. Curious about things happening in India and how it is being relayed. As I told you, we don't leave a chance to talk about our country because how beautiful and fantastic it is. But it's just that the news channels, they don't do justice of relaying the information, or if they are relayed, they're being relayed in a very I'll say biased manners. So since government of India is doing such a big job, especially the delegation that came here in US, we could see that news rolling down even to smaller TV channels, and people are hearing
Wonderful.
about it. Yeah, so like
That's good.
my senator over here, she was curious about it, and she was forced to write a piece on that, how the communication is being laid. So kudos to you all.
Thank you, Shalin. You come all the way from Dallas to here. Not bad. That is the beauty of online programs. Great.
Thank you,
We
ma'am.
hope to be in touch in future.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think Subhash, I'll close it because Sudhanshu must be waiting for his class.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
giving me the
Yashika, where are
opportunity.
you?
I'm
I
here,
think
sir.
So
Sudhanshu,
I sign off. Subhash, I sign off. Thank you
Sudhanshu
so much.
already there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye,
It's
everybody.
okay. Thanks,
All
Jaishri.
the best.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
God bless all of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before beginning the session, I would give a brief introduction about you. So, Sudhanshu served as the principal spokesperson of the Government of India and headed the Press Information Bureau as Principal Director General. With over 35 years in public communication, he was the longest serving spokesperson for the Ministry of Defense, where he had the digital transformation and expanded the ministry's presence on social media platforms. He also held key communication roles in ministries such as HRD, Environment, Agriculture, Atomic Energy and Space, and was DG of News Service at All India Radio. A Wisnu UK Fellow, he has authored acclaimed books including Soldiering On and co-authored a coffee table book on Republic Day celebration. Sir, I would like to welcome you on behalf of everyone, and I would like to request you to begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yashika. Good evening, friends. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. And this is the first time I'm having a kind of interaction with you. And I hope I would live up to the expectation of your curiosities and questions. To start with, we are living now in a really terrific time, actually. It can be called an age of crisis. There is not a single week which goes when we are not faced with a new crisis. And especially it is both an opportunity and also a challenging time for the PR persons as well as journalists when they are dealing with crisis. It is also the age of speed and uncertainty. I mean, the world never sleeps. 24/7 news is going, social media is active, and that small bit of relaxation that one wants, that is comes as a kind of privilege if one gets it. Misinformation spreads faster than facts, truth, and one has to factor that. And then what is a crisis? How do we define a crisis? I will do that in terms of a definition, but before that, I would give you a personal experience of what can a crisis happen, how can a crisis happen suddenly and without any previous notice, and what it does to an organization, how it makes it off guard. But that is not the most important part of a crisis. How the organization responds, that is the most important part of a crisis, and that shows the value of the organization. Madam Jethwaney, CC, was talking about different crisis situations, and she has experience in the corporate field. I essentially come from the government communication branch, but there also there are crises, there are reputations which are at risk. And I'll give you the first incident. It's not a story. It is actually the real incident, what happened, and how we tackled it. I will not tell you what actually we did. I'll go through part of that story first, and later on in the presentation, we will discuss the rest of it. And now I would be taking out my presentation, but there I am little challenged. So I am trying to get my desktop. Okay, my entire screen.
Wait for her.
Share.
I think I have to make you the host.
Open. Show Zoom.
Sithkanshu, I think I have to make you host.
Sir?
I have to make you host.
Okay.
Then you can share your screen.
Okay.
Now you are the host now. You are in control.
I'm the host now, so I am in control.
Now
Okay.
you can share, you can share your screen.
Thomas would like to record this computer screen.
Yes, Shika, just can you guide him that how to share the screen?
So there is an option of share with all other options.
Just one sec. I am my desktop. Where is my desktop? Desktop and dock. No. Where do I go? Schedule, share screen.
I think at the bottom, I think so. At the bottom, there is some green signal.
Oh.
Yes, Shika, where is it?
So it is near after the reactions. There is chat, reactions, and then the share screen.
Share, there is a
At the bottom, at the bottom.
Connected your calendar. You connect now to manage all your meetings. And ये क्या है अभी?
सर आप अपने मेन स्क्रीन में जाइए, वहां स्क्रॉल कीजिए, आपके उसके बॉटम में देखिए आपको कुछ ऑप्शंस मिलेंगे.
The presentation with me, I'll share it from my screen.
Just one second. I would like to use. No, don't allow it. They're asking for too many things.
बॉटम में एक शेयर का ऑप्शन जो है.
Zoom. Share, yes. It says entire screen, desktop, share. Okay, I'm doing it. open system settings, and then it says meeting. Oh no, no, share screen. Yeah. Okay, now I will open this. Can you see it now?
Oh.
Share screen, yes. When I share button, we have a share and enter desktop. Okay. I can see it here, but okay. I'll take just 30 seconds. I'll take the help of somebody here.
Yashika, if there's a problem, he can share his PPT with you and then you take care of it.
Yes, sir, you can share me on the WhatsApp and then
But
I'll share it.
I don't have his PPT. But how he will share with you? Hmm?
He can send it on the WhatsApp, sir.
Okay.
He
But
can send it to. He can send it to Yashika on WhatsApp, then she can share it on his behalf.
सिद्धांशु के पास यशिका का नंबर नहीं होगा ना?
I can give my mail ID.
So you give it to Sithkanshu.
I'll write in the chat box.
Or he will share in the group.
He can share it in
WhatsApp.
the group and then
He will
Yashika
share
can
with
share
me and
it.
I will share with
Okay,
you.
so what I'll do, can I send it to you?
You send
Yes,
it to
sir,
me
I
WhatsApp.
have to
Send it to
validate
me
my.
through WhatsApp.
Okay.
Sithkanshu, send it to me.
Okay.
Send it to me.
Can you share this?
This is on Zoom.
So Esther, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Share screen.
Come.
Have you downloaded this on your thing, laptop?
Yes, he will do it.
Okay, some will do it.
You share my screen. Come here.
So, ये upload क्यों नहीं हो रहा है?
Sir, you can take it out as a PDF and then it will be shared easily. If PPT is not being shared, convert it into the PDF and then it will be shared
इसका
properly.
button कहाँ है?
Just Zoom पे. Just share my screen. You take it.
Now you have second expert. One expert could not deliver. Or Sithkanshu, share with me through WhatsApp. And I will share with Yashika.
Sure, sir. Otherwise, he can directly mail me. I have given my mail ID.
Um, दांशु प्लीज मुझे भी भेज दो व्हाट्सएप पे.
Yes, sir.
Wait.
I think he's doing it now. You're able to do?
I think so. Wait a second. Sorry.
Okay.
And now I think it should work. Um, you are screen sharing.
Ah.
So this is the one which is shared, and you want to go to slide view. Now you can you see the screen? Yes.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
It is visible now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we start. Okay, now I'm coming to this story that I was going to tell you. You know, India hosts Aero India. The Ministry of Defense hosts it every alternate year, and this is the I think second most biggest event for this ministry after the Republic Day celebrations. Now, what happens is this particular Aero India in 2015, it was a very special one because Prime Minister Modi was to inaugurate it, and he will be pitching for Make in India program for increasing manufacturing in India. There will be a huge press conference by the defense minister, and it will be a long format kind of press conference, which will be going on for more than one hour. And the media size is about 1,000, and 250 correspondents have come. I'm giving you all these details to set you as the background as to what happened on that particular day. Now, it's a bright sunny morning, and everybody is agog. They are very excited that this big event is going to start. But there is a hitch. What has happened is that morning, the Indian Express has come out with a big story. And it says that, I mean, it is called the Indian Coast Guard Biryani controversy. And it says that one of the, the DIG of Gujarat, he had made a kind of announcement or a big blow up about that they had blown off the Pakistani boat, and because they did not want to serve biryani to them. Now, this particular incident is going to create a kind of problem for the ministry, because this incident had taken place on the 31st of December 2014, and we had also issued a press release on the 2nd of January detailing what had actually happened, that there was a kind of narrative which we had given. Now, it has become a problem because the media is now only talking about, since the morning, they are talking about this particular incident. And there is obviously an attempt to kind of hijack the narrative on that morning, so that we do not, the Prime Minister, the event doesn't get the kind of publicity. And our objective is to kind of ensure that our agenda is actually carried out. But there is also a collision of narratives, because what we had said in that press release and what has happened now in this particular claim that the DIG has made, there is a difference, that there is a dissonance in that. So That morning, when I told the secretary over the phone, because everybody was busy and they were staying in different places, so he said that how serious is this problem? So I said it's a red alert. We have to actually take notice of it, and before the minister addresses the press conference, he has to be very clear about what he is going to tell. The event took place, the Prime Minister gave his address and he left. And after that, we actually, there was a time about half an hour, 45 minutes, during which we were trying to figure out what to do. And then they said that it is a media issue and Director General Media Communication will handle. That is the responsibility, that is how it came to me. Now, we did actually control the narrative, but this particular incident had actually shaken the minister, the secretary, and everybody. Now, I will tell about it later, what we did to control it, but at this stage, it was a crisis. That is what I want to define it as. And this is the only, you can see the only definition I'm going to use in this entire presentation. A crisis is the perceived violation of salience, stakeholder expectation that can create negative outcomes for stakeholders and or the organization. This is by a very famous expert and professor on crisis communication, Timothy Kum of Texas University. And this word salience is not normally used in normal English language. It is a Latin. It is derived from the Latin word salire, which means to leap. It's like it is something which is very important for any person. Like one's birthday. Like, the moment you talk about your birthday, you think that is non-negotiable. I mean, that is something which is very important for you. So the violation of that kind of importance in the stakeholder expectation, and that can create negative outcomes for not only the stakeholders, but also the organization. So when you talk about a crisis, there is a psychological dimension to it. It is perceptual. For example, this Audi transmission system, for many years, it had problems. And the company kept on denying that there is any problem. But the perception of the users was that there is something wrong with it. It took a long time for Audi to acknowledge it and set it right. But by that time, the reputation was dented quite a bit. So crisis is not just the event that takes place, it is how it is perceived. Like in this, after the Air India crash, Boeing stock prices are dipping. I mean, it has gone down by 8 to 9%. So it is a perception that happens. Now, I'll talk about why communication matters. Because when a crisis takes place, there is a perception that has taken place, and there is the response. The perception is important as also the response when a crisis is taking place. And communication is the real battlefield. You know, how you are communicating with the people, the stakeholders, and whether they are accepting it. There are actually, this particular field is quite well researched, and now it has become it is fine-tuned to address various situations. When I will be analyzing this Air India crash and how they responded, and whether it was adequate, it was good or not. So credible communication actually will help in the recovery from a crisis, as it is very important how you communicate, what you communicate, and which are the different ways you communicate, the different platforms even. There are a few pillars of the crisis communication. These are the core principles of crisis communication. First of all is speed. You must respond quickly. First impression becomes the dominant narrative. If you do not say something on an incident, then a vacuum is created, and which will invariably be filled up by misinformation or rumor or some sort of information like that. And you will be the loser as a person belonging to that organization. There is a concept called stealing the thunder. Actually, when you have got a crisis, if you come out with the first information, then the people take it and then analyze, discuss about it, rather than creating a different narrative. So your narrative is actually the dominant narrative from which all derivatives are done. I will be giving you some examples in which we did that, exactly followed in a copybook style, how to give the first narrative and how it worked out well in the media, as also the entire community in the country. The second aspect is transparency. Don't hide or distort facts. In fact, it is better to admit what has gone wrong and tell what you are doing to correct it, rather than hiding or distorting facts. I'll give you one example in which, in my early days in Ministry of Defense, and from Wheeler Island in Odisha. Now, what has happened is the missile was launched, but in the missile was, I think somebody is talking. Okay. Now the missile was launched, but within a matter of few seconds, it had dipped into the Bay of Bengal. Now, the information that I was communicating from media. Can you switch off somebody? I think there is a baby who is talking.
आंटी डॉक्टर भैया इस इसमें कर सकते हैं वैसे तो 2 minutes बैठी हुई कॉर्पोरेशन 2 minutes wait कर बैठ जाओ 2 minutes कर सब जाओ please
भावना
please 2 minutes बैठ जाओ
भावना
बिटिया है ना पड़ोस की तो नहीं है ना आद्या 2 minutes बैठ जाओ मेरे साथ मैं चली जाऊंगी please. Please.
Okay.
भावना
There is some mic is on somebody's.
आइसक्रीम यहीं पे तो रखी है
Subhash sir, I think you might have to mute the person.
कितनी ठंडी ठंडी है लाओ हम खिला दे इधर ले आओ
Okay.
Sithkanshu sir, you're the host. You can mute her. You can mute.
जब आइसक्रीम खाते हैं ना तो ऐसे ऐसे करते हैं
Where is it?
लाम खिला ऐसे 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 नहीं ऐसे यहाँ पे नहीं यहाँ पे ऐसे ऐसे नहीं ऐसे ऐसे नहीं करते ऐसे ऐसे करते हैं अच्छा मत करो लेकिन हम तो करेंगे
भावना
नहीं खा रही
हम खा तो लिए दोपहर में अब खाने में खाएंगे तो तब करिएगा ऐसे ऐसे क्या हुआ
Bhavna, I would like to request you to mute yourself. Please.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi,
Bhavna,
Bhavna,
please
can you
mute
please
yourself.
mute yourself?
मैं क्यों कर रहा है फोन प्रोफेसर धूलिया
हाँ भावना, अरे तुम्हारा म्यूट करो भाई, तुम्हारा पूरा डिस्टर्ब हो रही क्लास, पूरी क्लास डिस्टर्ब हो रही, म्यूट करो अपने आप को। अरे तुमने क्लास को डिस्टर्ब करा हुआ भाई पूरी।
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I was talking about transparency and how not to hide facts and distort facts. Now, I was giving you that instance that the DRDO, which was doing this launching of the Agni 3, the first test launch, and this missile was launched successfully, but within a matter of few seconds, it had dipped into the Bay of Bengal. Now, the information that was given to me was that it was launched successfully. But after that, there is no message. What has happened to the missile? And generally started asking me after an hour or so that what has happened to the missile and whether it was successful or not. And then I will not get this person who had given me this information. And that created a kind of discomfort in me. And then we ensured after that this person is not over there. And we started establishing a much better line of contact through which we'll get the right information. And how it is to be disseminated, it was up to me. And this is how transparency should be there so that you don't distort facts and people trust you in what you are giving as the information. The third thing is empathy. And in this, actually, you should show concern and not just control. In fact, if you look at the Honorable Prime Minister's message during the COVID, in fact, after the COVID, when he was talking about the number of people who have died and the emotional tone with which he was talking, it was actually very appealing. And people thought that our leader is also thinking exactly the way we are thinking, and he's sharing our pain and sorrow. And this is where the communication becomes much better. I mean, this is the best form of communication where you empathize with the problems and the pain of the people. The next core principle is consistency. It has to be one voice and avoid mixed signals. This was very common actually in the services that one person says something, the other person says something. It is we call it as information fratricide. So that is the kind of thing which has to be avoided. Even in this Air India crash, there was a little bit of discordant voices. I mean, in terms of inconsistency in articulating the facts. So I'll talk to you about that a little later. And the final thing is that the preparedness, crisis plans, and crisis drills, which have to be actually done much before. You are prepared for a crisis. And so for that, you need those plans. You have to do regular drills. You have to do media training and simulations. One great example of this is the Odisha Disaster Management Authority. The way they have actually come over the years through their learning through their experience and fine-tuning this art of crisis communication is phenomenal. And as a result, it has helped the government in actually averting any deaths during cyclones or super cyclones even, or disasters. Their response mechanism has become so much better. One of those examples is the train accident when it took place in Balasore last year, or a little before that. They were the first responders. And in fact, they came so quickly, and all the departments of the government, including the medicals, everybody, the police, everybody was synced so nicely that they did a fantastic job and just quietly left the scene and went. And that is the kind of professionalism which they have evolved over the years. And this is through consistently trying to learn how they can do better in terms of communication. I'll give you some of their techniques also, how they do it. Now, in communication, crisis communication, one thing one has to remember, and this is a beautiful quote from a great strategist, statesman, diplomat, all in one way. And he said that, Dr. Henry Kissinger, he said that an issue ignored is a crisis invited. Now, this has happened with many organizations when they don't take care of small problems when it is showing, and it festers and it becomes bigger problems later. Now, there are various types of crisis. One is what is called victim crisis. I mean, you cannot do anything about it as an organization. These are natural disasters which take place, and rumors also about you. And this is one thing which doesn't do much damage in terms of reputation of the organization. But you can recover from it, from the crisis, what is happening, by giving information and then going about it. Accidental crisis also, equipment failure or human error, these are kind of tolerated by the people to some extent, although there are some questions which come regarding this. But what is the most obvious thing and dangerous thing is that the preventable crisis, organizational misdeeds or ethical failures, and this is the one which are the red alert ones, actually, because that is an organizational failure which is taking place. I'll give you the example of the KIT university, in which that Nepalese student, she committed suicide, and one could have actually prevented this kind of crisis if they had actually listened to her in the beginning and the complaints that was happening. In fact, in the environment, this kind of situations were there already, and the university could have taken some measures which they did not do. Okay, media logic actually dominates how crises are perceived. For example, if the incident is actually not of interest to a particular media house where it is located. For example, if something is happening in Assam or Manipur, and in Delhi, probably it is not conceived as a kind of crisis, and it is far away. I mean, they have their own logic why it is a crisis or not. Whether there could be many other reasons like TRP, there would be whether the viewer interest is there, who are their target audience. So media logic actually dominates how crises are perceived. It is not universal. And in the crisis, there is a kind of 4 stages. First of all, this is the life cycle of a crisis. The 4 stages, first of all, one can see it as simmering, and the second stage, it is smoldering. Third stage, it is gets acute. But the fourth phase is the recovery, when one has to, I'll elaborate on that, how recovery phase is the one which is normally neglected, but which is the most important aspect in the organization. Now, first stage is the simmering stage. If you look at it, there are early warning signs. There are internal issues, complaints, or non-conformities. Like taking this KIT University incident, there is this a girl, Prakriti Lamasol, and she was being harassed by a boy, and she had gone to the international students department, relations department, which is actually responsible for the foreign students in this university, and she had complained about it, which was not heard properly, or no solution was given, no carpet. And the best practice would have been the risk assessment should have been done, and crisis simulation, team building, etc. would have been done, and proactive monitoring they should have done. And if they have to actually talk to the media, they have to build credibility and internal trust at this stage. Later stage, it becomes very difficult when the problem has already crossed this simmering stage. Now it is known internally at this stage, smoldering stage, but not yet public. And there is the growing risk of media attention, and one has to actually, at this stage, tighten the internal controls, prepare the draft statements, engage legal and executive teams, because you are actually going to face that kind of problem, and you have to face the public. Prepare messaging. Preparation at this stage is very important. Now the acute stage, it is now it has come out. Crisis is in the public and unfolding rapidly. High media and stakeholder attention is there. The best practice here is to activate the crisis communication plan and use trained spokespersons and centralized media control. Empathy will win here. Now, in all these characteristics, this KIT University failed completely. In fact, it started abusing or blaming the Nepali students, and then they shouted, they were suspended. They were told to get out of the university overnight, and because they were protesting, and this is where the social media became important, and it gathered momentum. And in a university of this magnitude or size, they did not have a good PR department, and the official spokesperson for the spokesperson for the university was never seen. It was random guys who were talking to the people and the students and to the media, and it was creating all kinds of nasty scenes actually, which was happening. The recovery stage is the one where the situation stabilizes and public interest wins. Now, the news stories, they also, new media houses, they move to news stories, new crisis. And that is where the internal debriefing and auditing needs to take place, and reputation repair campaigns have to take place, share lessons learned. And this is the crucial time for brand building. And this is the time to kind of recover from this kind of thing. In the government, I can give you one example where we had to, oh no, sorry, where did it go? Back. Okay. Now, I'll give you one example. When the Kargil war took place, immediately after that, there was a Kargil review committee which came out with a recommendation. And in fact, for the first time, they talked about media, how the media relations were handled. And they gave some suggestions. That is, one was that the military people, they have to understand the media, and they should also know how to interact with the media. That is number one. The second one is that the journalists, they have to also understand the military, how they function, and the technical aspects of it. And this was the responsibility of Ministry of Defense to kind of do both the kinds of trainings for both the journalists and also the military people. Now, if you saw the briefing by the military people during this Operation Sindoor, actually, I felt really proud of all these people because many of them have gone through this kind of courses and training, which is the result of that kind of uh, uh, follow-up action that the ministry took in the wake of the Kargil conflict. Now, role of we can talk about the role of social media. It can be a friend and it can be a foe too. Now, this Me Too hashtag Me Too indicator of the success of the social media. That is the time when many women, they came out and openly talked about the kind of harassment they would have gone. Most of the organizations had brushed that on the carpet, and a new movement has started. And you know, proper mechanisms have been instituted in different organizations. It is absolutely a contribution of social media and this movement which was successful. In Operation Sindoor, we saw that on the one hand, it was able to generate a lot of nationalism, the pride with the nation, with our armed forces, but also there was a lot of misinformation which was going on, which had to be kind of scotched by the authorities in different ways. And if you look at the Ukraine war, it is the they call it the hybrid warfare or the fifth generation warfare, in which information warfare is actually another component, another weapon with which one fights the war. Okay. Now, there is also the artificial intelligence now. It is a new communication ally, and it should be used as a kind of tool at the moment to help us in improving our functioning. Like, for example, it can do a real-time monitoring of what is happening in the media. I mean, especially in the digital media. You can use those filters and you can see what is actually being talked about your organization or about yourself in the media. There are various tools also to do sentiment analysis, and this is now being used by actually the government, and they see how a particular event is being in different parts of the country. In fact, you can do that kind of micro analysis also to see, and you can see also the impact of various programs, how it is faring. So it is a great kind of tool to kind of frame your crisis communication. Chatbots and crisis hotlines. I mean, this was used in a big way by the WHO during the COVID-19 time. And what it means is that, in a crisis, actually, if you are using only phone, I mean, I have the experience of 100 people trying to contact you at the same time. If you are trying to kind of frame a kind of response or issue a press release or do some kind of social media post, that is not possible because all of them want to get questions which are like common to all, that can be taken care by the chatbots and crisis hotlines. Then one has to, artificial intelligence can help in finding deep fakes and disinformation. In today's world, anything that comes in the social media, I'm little worried about that because you may trust it for some time, and then after some time you find that no, that was a fake, or that was a kind of deep fake. So these kind of things can be taken care by certain AI tools, which can detect defects and disinformation. And this can be used in crisis communication. And AI, of course, is good for predictive communication. Now, I will give you examples. We'll analyze some of the good and the not so good crisis communication that have taken place. And these will be my opinions. And at the end, actually, I will request you to give your response, whether you agree with it or not. Now, let's first look at this is the most talked about the case study of AI 171 crash at Ahmedabad. Now, as you all know that this aircraft was a Dreamliner from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick with 240 on board, crashed a short while after takeoff on 12 June 2025. Now, I have prepared the timeline of the response, and you can have a look at it. Now, 1339 is the takeoff, and 1340 or 13, there is a little bit of kind of confusion. I assume that if it has taken off at 1339, within a minute, around 1340, made a call and crash. Now, if that has happened at 1428, that is after about 20 plus 28, 48 minutes, which is well within 1 hour, which is a very good response, actually. Air India spokesperson said that the first report, he put it on the X. The second report comes at 1526, less than 1 hour again. And this comes with clarity, with the details. And at 1605, we get a message from the Honorable Prime Minister, and it is an empathetic kind of message. And 1811, 2 hours after almost, there is AI update gives that hotlines have been established and one can talk to them. At 1914, Air India MD and CEO Campbell Wilson's video, again an empathetic message. And 4 minutes later, Tata Sons N. Chandrasekharan's message announcing compensation and other assistance, which is a very normal thing, but he announced it on the X, and he also gave an interview to CNBC TV18. At 1956, AI update again, additional flights for next of kin of passengers, and 2053 is the arrival of the team of special caregivers of this thing in Ahmedabad. These are all the information that they were giving. On the 13th June, that is at around midnight, on 12th, 13th intervening night, the summary of the day's developments, including cooperation in investigation, was announced by Air India. Now, if you look at it, they were doing their job absolutely in a copybook style, and that is how a crisis communication should be done. But there are some catches in that. How do we remove this? Okay. That it was effective. The arguments for it is that the timelines and channels, it was quick acknowledgement from Air India and PM Modi. And then there was the centralized sets of support, emergency hotlines, etc., and clear multi-level official engagement that took place, coordinated response from local, state government, and everybody, global partners. And there was transparency in investigation, publicizing Mayday call, black box recovery, and international probe, etc. It showed that the commitment to fact-finding and accountability, this all goes in favor of Air India. But there were certain things against it. Effectiveness, that is precision in communication. Initial figures said that more than 260 killed, 269 bodies, and this confused actually the public. And then there was the DGCA's remarks to AP were not accurate. He was saying that it took off after 5 minutes, the accident took place. Consistency in facts is critical in crisis messaging. because 5 minutes of flight would mean something else about that aircraft and its trajectory. So that has to be kept in mind. Information gaps on cause. There was speculation on flap misalignment, fuel load, technical failure, etc. But that was kind of expected in an event like this, which I will not hold too much against it, but this was also noticed. The third one is that the reputational risk also, which happened for Boeing, 9% down in their stocks, and overload versus clarity. Multiple authorities were issuing overlapping statements, and this was the kind of problem when you do not have a loop system in a crisis situation where everybody is on board sharing the same information and then disseminating it to the public. Okay, in this also, there was another aspect. When I talked about DGCA, I looked at their X handle, and I found that they have not given any message. In fact, yesterday when I saw it, I was shocked. They have not issued any message after May 21. So it is not being professionally covered. The second aspect is that there are legacy issues, problems with Air India, and this is it was government run past, but it is quite some time that they have already taken over, but they should have taken care, because social media is full of examples where the AC is not working, there is it is filthy, the washrooms, etc., and the seats are dirty, and entertainment system is not working. These are small things, and this is where people generally in the organization, that if they neglect it, the bigger things can also get neglected. That is my whole point. I'm not blaming Air India for this, but that one should take care of, as a professional organization, even the small complaints, small issues, then it will make you a very professional organization. Now, I will crisis communication, which we had done in the case of INS Sindhu Rakshak. Actually, it exploded one night in 2013, and the exact date was the intervening night of 13th and 14th. Why this was important for the this was significant for Ministry of Defense and for the Government of India, is that just the incident took place only a day after the launching of INS Vikrant, our first aircraft carrier at Kochi, and a day before the Independence Day celebrations. Now imagine if on the 15th of August in the morning, you look at the newspapers and you come out with the devastating news, then how does it feel? Like public relation officer for now. This took place when she prepared at Mumbai. Now 18 crew members, including several officers, were killed. And this explosion was so huge that the night sky in Mumbai was lighted, and the sound could be heard 5 kilometers away. Now the submarine had sank, and this is the time when we were actually working through the night the moment it happened, from Delhi, of course, but we are guiding our people in Mumbai to talk to the to communicate with the media. So within an hour of the incident, PRO Western Naval Command issues the first press statement, and then this was followed with 2 more updates in the night. Actually, this is a kind of copybook style that we are doing. We are not giving all information in one go. We are giving in installments so that the news organizations, especially television channels, can keep on flashing new updates and other things. And then in the morning, the parliament session was on, and Defense Minister gave a soundbite expressing grief over the loss of this thing, person. This was a sign of empathy with the people who were there. And shortly afterwards, he flies to Mumbai, visits the accident site along with the Chief of Naval Staff and CNC Western Naval Command and CM Maharashtra. They address a press conference together. Now here, we had to prep all of them before the press conference because we knew that the media will be asking, who are these 18 people who have died, their name, and the places from where they come, and questions relating to that. But we had, then what happens is the media goes to their families and then they talk to them, the kind of sorrow and the grief that gets projected in the television channels. This is the kind of thing that we saw during the Kandahar hijack. The government came under tremendous pressure because the television channels were, broadcasting, the family members who were kind of appealing to the government that you concede to the demand of the terrorists. And this is the kind of thing that happens on the television. So we wanted to avoid that. And when this question was to be asked to the so he told them that all of them were Indians, and he, that was a very sad kind of statement that he had to give, but that had the impact on the media. Now, what went all right in this particular incident is that we could control the narrative by proactively giving information, showing empathy at every stage through carefully crafted messages, and showing transparency by ordering an inquiry, and avoiding emotional traps of media by CNS's statement. Now, there is, how much time do we have? I think there is not much time. Sir, Suhadule sir, can I continue?
Well, it's between you and the participants. We have time because there is no next session now, the last session.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. This I will talk about now. Okay, yes. Thank you, sir. Now, I'll talk about another crisis which took place, and you would have read about it in the newspapers to some extent, and how we handled this particular issue of acquisition of AW, that is Augusta Westland 101. This particular acquisition actually was very controversial, and it led to a lot of and ultimately the ministry had to cancel the signed contract. The contract was actually terminated. Now, if you look at this particular, I'll give you a little background to it. And this Augusta Westland helicopters, the whole process actually had started in August 99. These are the VVIP helicopters which were to replace the aging Mi-8 helicopters. And these are to be acquired for the movement of VVIPs, including the president, prime minister, and other dignitaries. And finally, the contract was signed. You can imagine, after 11 years of discussion and negotiation and everything. And this was signed on the 8th of February 2010 for the acquisition of 12 aircraft from Augusta Westland 101 UK helicopters at a cost of 3,546 crores. Now, 2 years after, allegations of unethical dealings first appeared in Italian newspapers. Now, this was a very interesting kind of allegation, because the Italian police or secret service, they were trying to figure out about Finmeccanica, how their trade practices, and they actually got hold of one of the arms dealers, and actually he was traveling. When he arrived in Geneva airport, he was another decoy policeman goes with him, and they travel. Actually, they were having drinks and they were talking. Now, in this discussion, this person was telling that he had some role in the acquisition of this aircraft, and this was published in the Italian newspapers. Now, it was a kind of very complicated issue that was happening. When the contract was signed, actually the contract had provisions that if it is detected that there was some bribe was given or some unethical practices were there, then it will be cancelled. So all those provisions were there, but still this allegation was coming. So the government was looking after it, and it was asking various organizations to kind of probe it and to find out exactly what was the problem, because they just can't cancel the contract on the basis of some discussion in the Italian newspapers. And this was a contract which has been signed by with the London-based organization. And so that was it was for about a year this one went on. And then on 13th February 2013, Indian Express carried the story indicting former Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal S.P. Tyagi. Now, it came out that he was involved, and it was decided by the ministry that, I mean, we were discussing how to go about it. And then my advice to the ministry was that we must come out with all the facts in one go, in one press release. And on the 14th of February, a 4-page press release was given, and the facts, you know, the acquisition of AW101, the facts, it was a 4-page press release. And the facts have not been challenged by any agency so far. Indeed, all sides use it to present their side of the story. Now, the interpretation is going on from different sides, that who was responsible for it or who might have benefited from it. But the facts which have been mentioned in it have not been challenged. In fact, in one of the parliamentary debates, I found both the opposition and the government were holding this press release, and they were debating and discussing and shouting at each other. Okay. Now, what happened was that finally on the 1st of January 2014, MOD terminated the contract with AWL for acquisition of these VVIP choppers. Now, the lesson learned in that was that if you come out with the facts right in the beginning, then there is, you have set the tone. You have actually, captured the narrative. All others will have to follow or debate on it, and they cannot impute some other narrative into it. Anywhere there is some discussion, they will also refer back to these particular facts which have been given to you, and that is how we could, I think we did very well by containing that crisis that time. And to mention at the moment also, there is no progress in the investigation so far. I mean, it has gone so many years now. Now, the other crisis management that we had done and communication, which actually we conducted, was the Uttarakhand floods. If you look at it in 2013, that between 14th and 17th of June, there were incessant rains, cloudbursts, and flash floods in our worst disasters in tsunami 2004. Now, the interesting aspect of it is that on the 18th of June, the Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh went on an aerial survey. But before that, we had from the DPR MOD, the Public Relations Department, we had gotten to one of the aircraft which had done the kind of recce of those areas, and we had taken the shots, video, and also the pictures of it, and we knew what was the dimension of the problem. And even before the Prime Minister, got down from the aircraft, we had already deployed, what are called the mobile PR units in different places. In fact, we had deployed about 5 mobile PR units, That is, in addition to the all existing PR units in the region, there was a central control room which was established at IF headquarters so that the narratives will be synchronized, and there will be, again, information fratricide should not take place. And that is how we control the narrative and gave information. Also, we took the journalists to also see and report on the devastation. And this actually got us a lot of appreciation from all over the world, because a lot of foreigners were stranded, true tourists, and they were also rescued by the armed forces. And this gave us a lot of kind of mileage. And in this also, there are a lot of misinformation which was being carried out, and we had a news analysis wing which was focusing only on detecting rumors and misreporting. And there was a very tragic incident in which one of our choppers, actually it crashed on the 25th of June, if I remember, and 20 rescuers, they were killed in this crash. There were rumors that the Air Force is going to stop rescue operations, but we brought the Chief of Air Staff, and he himself assured the nation that rescue operations will not stop. We'll go ahead with our task. The one particular incident which I was quite impressed and also fascinated by New Zealand's Prime Minister at that time, when she responded, Jacinda Ardern, after the 2019 terror attack, in which one white supremacist attacked in two places, killing about 50 people. I mean, especially, the attack was on the mosques and 50 people were killed. And immediately afterwards, this New Zealand Prime Minister, she visited the survivors wearing a hijab and, showing solidarity with the people. This was a very spontaneous kind of reaction on her part, and her speech at that time actually was very, very much appreciated world over. And this is how the crisis communication, you can strike a chord with the people, even in the worst of situations. People appreciate when you empathize with them. Now, for those future communicators, I think I have got 5-6 kind of points. First of all is that you must institutionalize crisis communication protocols. I mean, this is absolutely necessary in this time and age. Without it, no organization can survive. In fact, it will be too much of a complacency if you do not have this kind of protocols in your organization. And you have to train spokespersons. I find that, yesterday, I was a little disappointed with the press conference yesterday when the Secretary of Civil Aviation was addressing, and he was faltering, even taking the name of the pilot. And I thought that he could have done it better. That is one thing. And the second thing was that all the mics were kind of piled on a table. And this was the kind of situation that one would see in the 80s or 90s. But today, one should, the PR organizations, they should not only provide content, but also they should look at how it looks on the screen. And this kind of small arrangements can be done where the mic holders will be there and you address it in a proper way rather than trying to make safe. This was a scheduled press conference, so there was no excuse. It was not a kind of impromptu one. It was a scheduled press conference, so these arrangements should have been done. The second thing, as I said, you have to train spokespersons. They have to be really good in communicating to the public and to the media, which is a necessity. And as I said, after the Kargil war or Kargil conflict, the way the armed forces personnel are being trained and they are showing their, flair in talking to the media is something heartwarming. And this needs to be done by every organization, because today media is everywhere in some form or the other, or you have to also come on the social media to give your side of the story. So this training is absolutely necessary. In fact, all organizations and all governments, in fact, the government, top government officials have to be trained in this. And build relationship before the crisis strikes. It is not a very good thing to kind of look for the media when after a crisis has struck. In fact, one has to build a relationship with them so that when the crisis is taking place, you can communicate with them in a more personal way. And practice radical transparency. Hiding facts doesn't help anyway, because if you hide the facts, there will be someone else who will be giving his side of the story, or misinformation will spread. And use AI tools for your convenience and efficacy. That is always useful and helpful. Those who do not use technology, they stay behind. The world moves forward. And at this moment, embrace multilingual and accessible communication, that is such as Vasini. Vasini is a very good program, which is AI program, which has been developed by the government of India. And with this, at the moment, they are able to translate immediately to 22 regional languages. Now, imagine if there is a message of the Honorable Prime Minister which has to be given out to the whole country in 22 languages. This can be done in a jiffy, and which was not possible earlier. And it can be also that in the text form also you can translate and give it. And what a wonderful thing it is to hear some message in your own language. My final conclusion is that human factor is supreme, and it's not just about your communication. It's about building trust, emotion, and showing your integrity and clarity. Crisis communication is just not information. You are actually giving a reassurance to your stakeholders that you are there for them. This example, the rotors of IF helicopters will not stop churning till the last stranded person is rescued to safety. The IF chief said during the Uttarakhand floods, and that rings in my, always in my mind, that, the kind of message that he was giving to all those stranded passengers who were losing hope at that moment. Thank you for your patience. I'll be very happy to answer any questions you may be having on this. Okay. Sir, what do we do now? Dulia sir?
Yes.
So any questions?
You can take some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. This was a very informative session. And we all loved it. I would like to request everyone to write the questions if they have.
You can ask directly also.
Right. Can I ask the question, Professor Dulia?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you. It was a very insightful session. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I wanted to understand that while there is a relevance of crisis communication, how do you look at what happened during Operation Sindoor in terms of social media miscommunication? And there was a lot of misinformation flying out from every part of social media. So how does one from somebody who is leading the communications from maybe Indian Army or Ministry of External Affairs, or probably at just recently what we saw at Ministry of Aviation as well. So how do you look at the curbing of misinformation or disinformation during these crisis times?
Yeah, this is a very good question, actually. The social media, in social media, you have both information and misinformation. and especially when misinformation is weaponized. Say, for example, our adversaries, they are also pumping a lot of misinformation into the social media. What is needed is that timely rebuttal of those misinformation. It's a very vicious kind of field in which it's not like it's a propaganda actually, and both sides are doing their jobs. I think I will leave it at that. And this has to be curbed by, or you cannot stop it, but you have to fight it also in your own way. And that is exactly what the Indian armed forces, they are doing, and they are quite capable of doing it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
So there are more questions lined up in the chat box. Harshita wants to know that how is the media supposed to respond during the times of crisis, such as the Air India plane crash?
Yes, actually, this is also a very important question. Situation. First of all, information as they can to the public, because the public is the stakeholder also, because the relations, the kins of people who are eager to know what has happened to the plane and other things. So, and it is the job of the airline and also the aviation authorities to provide the information as much as possible, which are like facts. They should not speculate as to what would have happened, what could have happened, but what has happened, what is actually the situation, and how it is to be related to the people who would like to know about it. There is competitiveness in the media, so they would try to also explore different sources of information. Like in this particular example, the media people will be contacting not only the Air India officials, top officials, but also the DGCA, the aviation, civil aviation ministry, the secretary, the minister. So it is essential that all these people who are dealing with this kind of the subject, there should be an internal loop has to be created, and sharing of information has to take place amongst them, so that they do not contradict each other when they are talking to the media. If 10 people talk to the media, I have no problem. But if they are all telling the same facts to the media, but if they are giving contradicting facts, as it happened in the case of DGCA and also and Air India, then there is a problem. There is a dissonance, and that is where that is the situation in which there are problems. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Ajay. He wants to know, how do you think RCB should have handled the crisis following the stampede during the victory parade celebrations?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure, sir. How do you think RCB should have handled the crisis following the stampede during the victory parade celebrations?
Yes, I mean, that was a very tragic incident. And as it happened, that there was no preparation for that victory parade. And suddenly you do it, and the kind of anticipation that they should have done and the required arrangements that they should have done, that was not there. And they could have learned from the experience of the earlier one in Bombay. If you remember, if you see that picture of those vast multitude of people celebrating the victory, that was quite a thing. And here, actually, I think they had to adjust to so many VVIP within inverted kind of requests to hold it immediately, and they were not really well prepared. Very sad, actually.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is, what is it like being in this profession at this level? What have you found meaning in, and what have you had to sacrifice?
Yeah. Yeah, made me emotional, actually.
Yes, sir.
See, this particular job is not a 10 to 5 kind of job. It is a 24/7 job. I can give you n number of examples when I have spent sleepless nights communicating with the world. When the Nepal earthquake took place, we had just gone into the social media, and it was decided that in order not to lose that privilege of having the social media, because we had got it actually only in 2015, the permission from MOD to go on social media. We were quite late into that field, but we really did well. So when the Nepal earthquake took place, the Indian media which had gone over there, they were thrown out. The only media which were there is the DPR's, that is the Directorate of Public Relations media in Nepal, and reporting on whatever has happened. It was a very devastating earthquake, and we had put 4 mobile PR units in different parts of Nepal to collect information and disseminate to the world. And in fact, it was, so good that the Spanish civil rights organization gave a kind of commendation to us, saying that what their own government is not able to do, we were able to do. That apart, we also got commendation from the Nepal government and also the army for our performance, because we were empathetic about this tragedy, and we were talking about human misery and problems, and how governments are trying to help them out, to reach them out. So overall, it is a great experience. But in the process, actually, my children, they are now grown up, but they say that very rarely you are there in our birthdays. So that is the kind of, but it's a great experience, terrific job satisfaction, and one can look back with a lot of pride what one has done in these years.
Absolutely, sir. This is a really bright experience. So, sir, the next question is, how do we fact check?
Yashika, how many questions are there?
Sir, there are 3-4 lined up questions.
I think you read these questions in one go.
Yeah.
And let
Okay.
to answer in one go, because we are running short of time.
Okay, sure, sir.
So read
sir,
out all the questions, yeah.
So the questions are, how do we fact check quickly using AI tools? Next question is, when it comes to crisis communication, apart from AI, what else can we expect in the future? Next is, sir, they want to know your opinion about Kunal Kamra's comment on Ola scooter. The next question is, if clients of an organization take to social media speaking about some issues they have faced and that is affecting a company's credibility, is it a correct crisis management approach if the company's management asks its employees to mass report the social media post to shut the people speaking out about the issues, instead of actually responding to these posts in an empathetic manner and trying to introspect what could have been gone wrong? The next question is regarding transparency. Sometimes government want to keep some information safe on public interest. If situations like COVID, they hide death counts, vaccine developments, etc., are there any situations where transparency can be compromised? So, sir, these are the questions. And
You have plenty of questions.
Yes, there are many
Okay.
questions. This is very interesting. And sir, one more question is there. I want to ask, if someone wants, especially from young scholars, if someone wants to build a career like you in crisis management and want to work with the different ministries in this area, what would you suggest to them?
Okay. The last question I'll take first. Yeah, yes, you can join the government. Actually, the government communication set up in different ways. Um, uh, one channel of joining is the Indian Information Service. That is through the Indian Civil Service exam, and you can come there and join it, and it's a very good job that way. There are also at other grades also you can join. Recently, actually, I think that recruitment is or the last date for application is over. Recently, the government, especially the PIB, had advertised many researcher posts for Press Information Bureau. Actually, these are new concepts in which they are trying to kind of build stories on the functioning of the government and a lot of other issues. So that is how you can join. And of course, there are contractual employees also in different organizations whom they recruit, and after a few years, they can be inducted into the some of the Indian Information Service also. That is how some of the people have joined. So there are many ways you can come to this government communication setup, and but one should be looking for those advertisements and opportunities in the websites. That is number one. The second one, what people talked about is transparency, and especially COVID-19, figures, deaths, and other things. If you look at the COVID-19 situation, it was an unprecedented kind of situation in which uh, it was virtually impossible to keep track of the deaths that was taking place, because I was talking to some of the hospital authorities at different places. Even in USA, I was talking to them. The problem was that people are coming in large numbers. A hospital has got, say, for example, 50 or 60 beds. But if 200, 300 people land up over there, then what do? And people are dying, and those who are dead, the bodies have to be removed because another person who is living, they can get the treatment. And in the process, if you think of the figures that is there, that can always be debated, and it is being debated all over the world in every country. And it was not like a deliberate attempt to hide the truth, but the situation was that kind. So that is about it. The third thing is that fact check how AI can be used. Now, there are a lot of tools which are available in AI. I can't give you just like that because I am not using them for my work or research. But there are people who are organizations which are actually doing it in a very professional way. If you want, I can actually, Google has got a set up also a small organization which trains people in how to detect AI. And in fact, fact check. In fact, this is what we had implemented in Press Information Bureau. And before that, when we started the fact check unit, in fact, there is a Hyderabad-based organization whom we had requested to come and train our people in various tools so that they can find out what exactly, fact and what is not. So those things are available. Now, there are some audio breaks about the other questions that you are asking. Can you repeat them? About Ola something.
So the question is, what are your views about Sudhanshu Kar's comment on Ola scooter? So Kunal Kamra's comment on Ola scooter.
I didn't understand. Actually, Ola scooter, they have some problems over there. I don't know exactly.
So, Ranjit wants to ask, what is your opinion about Kunal Kamra's comment on Ola scooter?
I'm sorry, actually, I have not seen that. What is his comment?
Sir, that I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, sir. There is one more.
सर कुणाल कामरा ने कुछ ट्विटर पे कमेंट किया था, उनके स्कूटर में कुछ इश्यूज था, और उनके जो सीईओ है अग्रवाल, उन्होंने कुछ उसका रिस्पॉन्ड जो है बहुत गलत तरीके से दिया, जिससे उनका शेयर काफी डाउन हुआ। तो उस पे
Anyway,
मैं सर
leave this issue because Sithkanshu has not read this issue, so leave this issue.
No, no, I have seen that Kunal Kamra talking about it, and you see, he's a comedian, and if you take seriously the comedians, then there is no end to your problems. They should be
before
laughed
you
at. I mean, you should enjoy what they are talking about.
Sir, there is one more question. The question says, if
Yeah.
clients of an organization take to social media speaking about issues they have faced and that is affecting company's credibility, is it a correct crisis management approach if the company's management asks its employees to mass report the social media post to shut the people speaking, instead
Okay.
of actually responding to this post in an empathetic manner and trying to introspect what is going wrong?
Yes, Ashika, make it the last question.
Yeah, this is a very good question, actually. And, social media is there for that. If a client has faced some problem and he is putting it out on the social media because the problem could not be resolved in other ways, what is wrong with it? If the organization is so insensitive, all of us, we have faced problems like that. And sometimes we have gone to the social media to vent our frustration. So the organizations have to change their culture, and they have to listen to the problem and then come out with it. I mean, about Air India, I have that problem because I was looking for different complaints of the people in the last, say, for example, 2-3 months. And there are enormous number of videos in the YouTube, and they are talking about a flight to Dubai or some place or the other, and they said that the AC was not working, the entertainment system was not working, or the food was bad, or it was whatever, and the overall hygiene and cleanliness was not there. So what is wrong with it if they're venting? And it is the responsibility of the organization to take care of those basic requirements. People are paying for the services, and if they are not getting it, they will complain. It is normal. Okay.
So,
Sure, sir.
Yashika, have you exhausted your question, or still there are more questions?
Sir, actually, I have one personal question.
You have more questions?
Sir, I wanted to ask if you use some social media handles like LinkedIn.
Of course.
Yes, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I am not active on the social media right now. I used to use the social media mostly for the organizations for which I used to work. And I was like mad about them, very passionate about them. But at the moment, I think if I am using the social media, it is to promote myself, which I don't want to do. So I am not active on the social media. And the other aspect is that, when I can voice my opinion, but my opinion, sometimes people are hurt by my opinion. And they tell me that, okay, you are in that position, and if you talk like this, we are getting injured by your opinion. So I thought that, okay, so I will not use the social media. It is there, but I don't use them right now.
So I have a question before you leave.
Yeah.
Sorry. So sir, the question was not presented correctly, or I think it was misunderstood. So what I am another part of the world where I consume the news much later when it is actually being laid. And how the AI work, just to give you a little briefing, all the stuff that's been put on news or on social media. So it's generally picking up all those things. So for example, I'll give an example. Yesterday, since still sitting in US, I consume all the Indian news and the Pakistani news to get a fair idea. So yesterday, they're putting some kind of a news that India will be in FATF grey list, which is totally incorrect. But what my question was, how do we fact check? Because when I'm using the AI tool, it is picking up all the news that's already been there. So it is good news, bad news. The algorithm works in such a manner where if, for example, humans have two eyes, if that is the AI is picking up because it has been written multiple times in multiple books, multiple essays. Tomorrow, someone says human beings have three eyes. It will be picking up that. So how do I fact check the information that's being what I'm consuming or what I'm like getting from AI? How is that correct? Is there a official media channel where government of India is putting up information like how they did for Operation Sindoor? They had a MOD persons coming in and informing, giving all the insights about the operation with visuals, with all the details. Do we have something like that where we can fact check? Because many a times the AI tools we are using, they might not be 100% correct. They might be misleading.
Okay, so far as the information about the Operation Sindoor is concerned, yes, the government of India, the website, one website is the Press Information Bureau. .gov.in, and you get all the government authentic information from there. Okay, that is one place. The other one is, during the Operation Sindoor, the press conferences were held in two venues on different days. Like there was one in the National Media Center, and the other one was in the Ministry of External Affairs. Like the first press conference was held in NMC, that is the National Media Center, and the last press conference in which all the DGMOs and the Air Force military operation people were there. So that was also held in National Media Center. All the other press conferences were held in the Ministry of External Affairs. Okay, now the thing is, whatever was held in Ministry of External Affairs, those transcripts and the videos were uploaded in MEA's site. And those which are held here in NMC, those were uploaded on the PIB website. So that is the difference. But otherwise, PIB has got a fair fact check unit. It is a reasonably good organization, but they do not have that kind of capacity at the moment, to deal with warlike situations when misinformation is at its peak. So they can't filter or check every bit of information, but they do it as far as possible. That is one. And there are other organizations in the country now. I think they are also equally effective. Like there is that Alt News, which does a tremendous amount of fact check. In fact, during this warlike situation, they were at the forefront, and they were doing a marvelous job, I must say. Yeah.
Thank you.
True. Welcome. Okay, should we?
Yes, I think Yashika. So it's okay now, Yashika?
Yes, sir. I guess all the questions are covered.
Yes. No, we have enough questions.
Sir, actually, the content is really interesting and challenging for young minds. So we have questions.
It's already 20 minutes past 9. So if you take more questions, then participants are going to curse you.
I have no problem.
So I think, Yashika, we will conclude now. So
Sure.
Sudhanshu, thank you very much. And it was very, very informative and inspiring talks. Very, very interesting. Even I found it very, very interesting and new things. So really, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving this opportunity, and thank you everybody for giving me your time to listen to this presentation. And in fact, when you are outside the government, you don't know actually what happens inside, but it is not a very quiet place. A lot of things are happening, a lot of things happen. And if you are in that kind of position, then you are actually is a participant or at least a witness to a lot of things which happens. Okay. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank you, sir.
Sudhanshu.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.